The city of Aloria floated silently above the earth, a shining jewel of glass and steel hovering in the thin atmosphere. Its streets were not streets at all, but smooth platforms that curved along the surface of enormous orbital rings. Between the platforms, glimmers of stars peeked through the gaps, and the hum of energy fields created a gentle vibration underfoot. It was a city built for progress, for celebration, and for the endless dance of life in the void. KL leaned against the railing of one of the upper platforms, watching the lights of the city swirl below. He had been summoned to the annual Celestial Gala, an event where humans and alien species mingled, exchanged ideas, and displayed their most remarkable talents. Kale was not one for crowds, but tonight, duty demanded he attend. He adjusted the collar of his simple uniform, a sleek, silver tunic with minimal adornments, and tried to blend into the throng of dancers, diplomats, and engineers alike. He felt out of place. Everywhere he looked, beings with 4 arms, glimmering skin, or shifting forms moved effortlessly in the low gravity. Their movements were precise, elegant, and almost hypnotic. Humans, in contrast, often stumbled or misjudged distances. Kael had practiced zero-gravity movement for years, but tonight it seemed insufficient. He sighed and kept his hands tucked behind him, watching the flow of the crowd like a careful observer. Then he saw her. Leora stood near a platform at the center of the hall, her figure illuminated by soft, golden lights. Her skin had a faint shimmer, like sunlight on water, and her eyes held a depth Kale could not name. She was not dancing at the moment. She simply observed, tilting her head as if measuring the room. But the moment Kale met her gaze, he felt a spark, an undeniable pull. Something about her made the bustle around him fade, like the city itself had narrowed into a single point of focus. Leora's lips curved into a smile that was both teasing and confident. She took a step toward him, and the soft hum of her movement made Kale's pulse quicken. She spoke, her voice a melody that seemed to linger longer than sound should. "Dance with me, he's watching. I'll kiss you after." Kale blinked. The words were strange, direct, and yet impossible to ignore. He hesitated. The crowd pressed on around them, the music shifting into a rhythm meant for floating bodies to glide effortlessly. He swallowed and replied with as much confidence as he could muster. "I'll need more than that." Leora raised an eyebrow, amused. "More than curiosity?" she asked. "More than curiosity," Kale admitted, stepping closer. His heart thumped in his chest. In zero gravity, even a small movement felt amplified, and every breath seemed heavier. Leora extended her hand, elegant and inviting. Kale hesitated again. He was an engineer, not a performer, but something in her eyes challenged him. He took her hand. Instantly, the world shifted. The floor beneath them became irrelevant, replaced by the fluid dance of bodies in zero gravity. Leora moved with effortless grace, twirling and drifting, and Kale found himself trying to match her. At first, he stumbled, overcorrecting in ways that would have embarrassed him on solid ground. But gradually, he began to sense the rhythm, not just the music, but the subtle cues in her movement. As they spun and floated, Kale noticed something unusual. Leora's eyes often flicked toward a figure standing at the edge of the platform, observing. He could not see the observer clearly, only a silhouette, but Kale felt the weight of attention. Every movement he made was measured, and he realized that this dance was more than amusement. It was a test, though he did not yet know of what. The music shifted again, faster now. But Kale adapted. Humans were known for their unpredictability, for creativity in ways aliens rarely anticipated. He began to improvise, matching her patterns with sudden changes in direction, subtle spins, and daring approaches. Leora's smile widened. "You learn quickly," she whispered. "Not just learning," Kale replied, grinning. "I'm adapting." They moved through the hall like a pair of stars orbiting each other, weaving through alien dancers with ease. Kale felt something he hadn't expected. Joy. The initial nervousness that had weighed on him vanished, replaced by the pure thrill of movement and connection. He noticed that other guests had begun to pause, watching the pair with fascination. Humans dancing with aliens were not unusual, but few managed to hold their own against such seasoned grace. After a particularly daring spin, Kale found himself floating above Leora, their hands still joined. He had to admit he was impressed with himself, and she noticed. She tilted her head, laughter sparkling in her eyes. "You are remarkable," she said softly. Kale's heart skipped a beat. "I told you I'd need more than curiosity," he reminded her, though he could not hide the grin spreading across his face. "You are right," Leora replied, "and now you have it." Just then, the observer moved closer, stepping into the light. Kyle finally saw him. A tall figure with sleek metallic armor and eyes that seemed to see everything. The presence was commanding, but not threatening, more like the steady pull of gravity itself. Kale stiffened slightly, but did not release Leora's hand. The observer's gaze swept over him, lingering on the improvisation. The creative choices in movement. The way Kale had adapted instinctively. Kale realized that Leora had brought him here for a reason, though he did not yet understand it. When the music ended, Kale and Leora floated in the center of the platform, surrounded by applause and murmurs of admiration. Leora leaned close and whispered, "You have passed the first part of the test." Kale laughed nervously. "Test? What test?" "Patience," she said, her eyes twinkling. "All will be revealed soon." Even as the words left her lips, Kale could feel the weight of the observer's attention. He had done something remarkable tonight, not just dancing but showing something uniquely human. Ingenuity, adaptability, and the ability to think beyond what was expected. He did not yet know the full extent of what was being measured, but he understood enough to feel pride. The crowd began to disperse, drifting toward refreshments, conversations, or more performances. Kale finally let go of his tension, floating gently beside Leora. "You were amazing," he admitted, still catching his breath. "You too," she replied, her hand brushing against his. "But don't let it fool you. The night has only begun." Kale smiled, a mix of excitement and apprehension. He had entered the gala expecting a simple evening of social obligation, but now he realized it could be the start of something far greater. Something that could change not just his life, but how humans were seen among the stars. Leora glanced at the observer one last time, then back at Kale. "Come," she said, gesturing toward a quieter balcony overlooking the city. "I'll explain a little. But you must promise to listen with an open mind." Kale nodded. "I promise." As they floated toward the balcony, the lights of Aloria shimmered below like a river of stars. Kyle could not help but feel that, in this vast universe, something extraordinary had begun tonight. And whatever came next, he knew one thing with certainty. Humanity had surprises yet to reveal, and he intended to be at the heart of them. The balcony floated quietly above the golden lights of Aloria, giving Kale a view of the city's endless curves and the vast, dark expanse of space beyond. The hum of energy fields below seemed distant here, almost peaceful. Leora leaned against the railing, her shimmering skin catching the soft glow of the city. She watched Kale with a mixture of amusement and seriousness. "You want more than curiosity," she said, her voice calm but full of meaning. "Then you should understand why I asked you to dance." Kale frowned slightly. "I thought it was just a test of skill?" Leora shook her head. "It was more than skill. Humans are watched closely. Kale. In this city, and beyond. Beings like him." She gestured subtly toward the distant observer, still visible in the gala hall below. "They are always measuring, observing, judging. Your species is unpredictable, creative, and sometimes remarkable. But very few humans realize how much potential you hold. Kale's pulse quickened. So, the dance? It was some kind of evaluation? Exactly, Leora said, stepping closer. That observer doesn't just watch for grace. He watches for problem-solving, for intuition, for adaptability. You improvised tonight. You thought ahead in ways that no alien would expect. That is why I invited you. Kale exhaled, a mix of relief and nervous excitement. And I passed? For now, Leora said, her eyes gleaming. But there is more to prove. The dance was only the first step. Kale felt a thrill, a strange combination of fear and curiosity. What's next? Leora smiled. Follow me. She led him through a series of quiet corridors that wound around the orbital ring. The walls glimmered with embedded panels displaying star maps, alien languages, and holographic projections of planets. Kale had seen these before in professional reports, but seeing them in person, alive with light and movement, was overwhelming. They reached a circular room with a smooth, polished floor. At its center hovered a large holographic display of a simulated star system. Planets rotated, moons orbited, and streams of energy moved along the magnetic fields. Around the display were control panels, glowing softly, inviting interaction. This is the challenge room, Leora explained. It is designed to test creativity, logic, and collaboration. The observer wants to see how humans respond when faced with unusual problems. Kale stepped closer, his fingers brushing the edge of one panel. Unusual problems? Yes, Leora said. Look at the simulation. Each planet has specific conditions: weather, terrain, resources. Your task is to find a solution to a potential crisis in this system. And you won't know what it is until you start. Kale hesitated, feeling the weight of the unknown. You'll learn, Leora interrupted gently. And you won't be alone. I will help guide you. But you must make the decisions. The simulation shifted suddenly. One of the planets began to destabilize, its orbit wobbling dangerously close to a nearby star. Holographic projections showed cities, energy grids, and populations at risk. Kale's breath caught. What do I do first? He asked. Observe, Leora advised. Think about patterns, anticipate outcomes, then act. Remember, this is not about following rules. It is about finding solutions no one expects. Kale nodded and began scanning the data. His human mind, used to improvisation and adaptability, started to detect subtle patterns in the simulation. The alien systems had measures to stabilize the planet, but they were rigid, slow, and predictable. Kale realized that a small, unconventional adjustment could redirect the planet's orbit safely without causing collateral damage to its cities. Try this, he murmured to himself, then carefully adjusted the trajectory using the controls. The planet responded, orbiting into a stable path. Kale's pulse raced. It worked, he whispered. Leora's smile widened. Well done. But that was only the first test. Watch carefully. The simulation expanded. A neighboring planet experienced sudden energy surges, threatening its artificial atmosphere. Another had severe weather anomalies that could destroy entire ecosystems. Kale felt overwhelmed. But Leora remained calm beside him, her presence steadying. You don't have to solve everything at once, she reminded him. Prioritize, adapt, and learn from each step. Kale took a deep breath. He began analyzing the system, noting how each planet's crisis affected the others. He devised a plan that used small interventions on multiple planets simultaneously, stabilizing each one without triggering new problems. Each adjustment required creativity, timing, and precision skills Kale had honed as a human engineer, but had never used in such a high-stakes, alien environment. Hours seemed to pass in minutes. The observer watched from afar, silent but attentive. Kael felt the weight of that attention but refused to let it distract him. Leora occasionally guided him with subtle hints, pointing out energy flows or alternative strategies. Together, they became a fluid team, her alien experience complementing his human intuition. Finally, the crises stabilized. The planets spun in their perfect orbits, energy flows balanced, and holographic citizens carried on their lives. Kael leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. "You did it," Leora said, her tone soft and full of admiration. "You thought like a human, but you acted like a strategist. The observer will remember this." Kael laughed, a little breathlessly. I can't believe it. I didn't just follow instructions. I actually solved it." "That is exactly why you are remarkable," Leora replied. "Humans can see solutions where others see only rules." Kael looked at the swirling holographic planets, feeling a sense of pride. For the first time, he understood what she meant about potential. Humans were underestimated, yes. But that unpredictability, that creativity, could be a powerful advantage in a universe that often relied on rigid logic. The observer approached at that moment, stepping into the room's soft light. Kael felt a mix of nervousness and anticipation. The figure's metallic armor reflected the holographic glow, and his eyes seemed to pierce directly into Kael's mind. "You have performed admirably," the observer said, his voice calm but authoritative. "Few humans would have found the solutions you did. You exhibit traits that are rare and potentially invaluable." Kael straightened, trying to appear composed. "Thank you, sir. I just reacted to what I saw." "Reaction is not the only measure," the observer replied. "It is adaptation, creativity, and the courage to take initiative that we value. Humans have these in abundance, though often unconsciously. This experiment has proven it." Leora placed a hand lightly on Kael's shoulder. "You see? I told you, humans are extraordinary," she said softly. Kael felt a warmth of pride and accomplishment that he had never experienced before. The observer nodded and stepped back, leaving the two alone again. "Tonight, you learned much," Leora said, floating closer to him. "But challenges are only beginning. The universe is vast, and humans have only begun to discover what they are capable of. You will face more tests, more opportunities, and you will need to rely on your unique strengths, creativity, intuition, and adaptability." Kael listened, absorbing every word. I think I'm ready," he said. "You will need more than readiness," Leora replied, her smile teasing but serious. "You will need courage, curiosity, and trust in yourself and others. And soon, you will understand what I meant when I said he is watching." Kael glanced back at the fading image of the observer, realizing that the world of Aloria and the galaxy beyond was more complex, more demanding, and more exciting than he had ever imagined. The gala, the dance, the simulation all were steps in a larger journey, and he had just taken his first real leap. Leora extended her hand once more, inviting him to leave the room. "Come," she said. "There are more lessons to learn, and the night is far from over. Humanity has much to show, and I intend to see it all." Kael smiled, feeling the thrill of possibility course through him. With one last glance at the stabilized holographic planets, he took her hand, ready to face whatever challenge awaited next. And as they floated together through the quiet corridors of the orbital city, Kael felt a new certainty growing inside him. Humans had more to offer the universe than anyone had realized. And this was only the beginning. The city of Aloria glittered below like a river of stars, each platform reflecting the pale light of distant suns. Kael and Leora floated along a quiet corridor, the soft hum of energy fields beneath them, a comforting presence. After the intense simulations, Kael felt a mixture of excitement and fatigue. His body was tired, but his mind buzzed with new understanding. Leora led him to a circular chamber, with walls made entirely of glass. Beyond the walls stretched the void of space, dotted with planets, asteroids, and distant suns. Holographic projections floated in the center, showing constellations, star systems, and possible colonization zones. Kale stepped closer, awestruck. He had seen star maps before, but none like this, alive, moving, and full of potential. "This is the observatory," Leora said, her voice soft, almost reverent. "It is where the observer evaluates civilizations, watches how they develop, and decides who is ready for more responsibility in the galaxy." Kale glanced at her, curiosity sharp in his eyes. "Responsibility? What do you mean?" Leora floated closer. "Not everyone is given the chance to participate at this level. The observer decides who is ready to be part of interstellar councils, to influence decisions that shape entire worlds. And he has been watching humans closely." Kale frowned. "Watching humans? Why us? We're just ordinary people." Leora shook her head. "Ordinary? No. Humans are unique. You are unpredictable, inventive, and capable of thinking in ways no other species can. That is why I asked you to dance, and why you performed so well in the simulations. You showed traits that are rare and valuable." Kale's mind raced. "Traits? Valuable? I don't understand. What does that even mean for me?" "Oh, it means," Leora said, her voice steady, "that you have the potential to represent humanity. To show the galaxy that humans are more than what they seem. To show that unpredictability, creativity, and intuition can be as powerful as raw technology or strength." Kale's heart thumped. The thought was overwhelming. He had never considered himself extraordinary. He was just an engineer, solving problems, day by day. Yet here, in this observatory above the stars, he felt a weight of responsibility and an exhilarating sense of purpose. Leora gestured to the holographic star systems. "These are the sectors where your species might have influence. But influence is not given, it is earned. And you, KL, have already begun to earn it." End quote. Kale's eyes widened. "Earn it? How?" "By showing what humans can do," Leora replied. "During the dance, you demonstrated improvisation and intuition. In the challenge room, you solved problems others could not even imagine." That observer noticed. "And soon, you will face a test that requires more than skill. You will need understanding, empathy, and trust." KL looked at the planets spinning in holographic orbits. He imagined entire civilizations relying on someone like him to make decisions, to guide choices that could shape the future. It was intimidating, but also thrilling. "What kind of test?" he asked. Leora smiled, a mixture of mischief and seriousness. "A test that shows not only what humans can do but how they do it. Creativity alone is not enough. You must show judgment, foresight, and the ability to collaborate. And, perhaps most importantly, you must show heart." KL felt a shiver of anticipation. "Heart? Yes," Leora said, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "Decisions at this level are not about calculations alone. They are about understanding people, or species, or entire worlds. Can you balance logic with empathy? Can you make choices that are right, not just efficient?" The chamber grew quiet as Kale absorbed her words. He had always relied on logic, patterns, and calculations. But empathy, understanding, and collaboration, these were new concepts at this scale. Yet, he felt ready. Somehow, he trusted that humans had something others lacked. Something that could shine even among advanced alien civilizations. Leora floated closer, placing a hand lightly on his shoulder. "You have one advantage," she said softly. "You think differently. You see solutions where others see obstacles. That is what makes you remarkable. That is why the observer is interested. Kale looked at her, questions swirling in his mind. Why me? Why did you choose me? Leora's smile was warm, but serious. Because you are human. You are ordinary in appearance, but extraordinary in thought. You act with curiosity, ingenuity, and courage. You adapt. And above all, you are willing to learn. Kale's chest swelled with a mixture of pride and disbelief. He had never imagined that a dance, a simple improvisation in zero gravity, could be so significant. Yet here he was, recognized not just for talent, but for potential. Come, Leora said, motioning to a console at the edge of the chamber. She tapped the controls, and the holographic star system shifted, revealing a cluster of newly discovered planets. This is the next step. These systems are uncharted. No species has explored them fully. The observer wants to see how humans approach discovery and problem-solving in unknown environments. Kale leaned closer, examining the planets. Each one had unique characteristics, different atmospheres, terrain, and energy patterns. Some had visible life forms, some appeared barren. He felt a thrill of possibility. You will plan missions, suggest solutions, and make choices that will guide exploration. Every decision will be monitored, evaluated, and learned from. Success will show that humans can handle responsibility on a galactic scale. Failure will teach lessons. Kale's mind raced with questions. And what about the observer? Will he interfere? Not directly, Leora said. He watches, evaluates, and occasionally offers subtle guidance. But he does not act. The decisions are yours. That is the true test. Kale felt a shiver of excitement. He had faced challenges before, but never like this. Never on a scale where entire worlds might depend on his insight. Yet he also felt a spark of confidence. Humans had something special, something that no algorithm, no alien rulebook could replicate. Leora floated beside him, pointing to a small cluster of planets. Start here. Each planet presents a problem. You must identify it, analyze it, and propose a solution. Remember, adaptability is key. Observation alone will not suffice. Kale nodded, his hands moving over the holographic interface. He began analyzing the first planet, noting unusual energy flows and environmental shifts. He realized that solutions required more than technical skill. They required creativity and foresight. Humans were often underestimated for this very reason. As he worked, Leora watched, offering subtle hints, but letting him take the lead. The observer remained silent, a shadow at the edge of the chamber. Kale felt both pressure and inspiration. Every decision mattered. Every choice would reveal something about humanity's potential. Hours passed as Kale tackled each planetary challenge. He found innovative ways to stabilize unstable environments, suggested resource sharing between planets, and proposed new strategies for sustainable development. Leora was impressed, but more importantly, Kale could feel the observer's silent approval. Finally, Kale leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. He had completed the initial evaluation, and he knew it was only the beginning. Leora floated closer, her eyes bright. You see? She said. Humans are capable of more than they realize, and you, Kale, have shown it tonight. The observer has noticed. And this is only the start. Kale felt a swell of pride and purpose. He had entered the gala expecting a simple evening of social obligation, but now he understood that his actions could resonate far beyond a laurea. Humans were underestimated, yes. But perhaps it was time they were taken seriously. Leora extended her hand once more. There are more lessons to learn, more challenges to face. But remember this, your uniqueness, your creativity, your heart will always be your greatest strengths. Kale took her hand, feeling the warmth of trust and possibility. I'm ready, he said, determination in his voice. Leora smiled, and together they floated toward the next set of holographic projections, ready to explore the unknown. Kale felt the thrill of discovery, the weight of responsibility, and the certainty that humanity had something remarkable to offer the universe. And as the stars shimmered outside the glass walls of the observatory, Kale realized something profound. The galaxy was watching, and it was time for humans to shine. The observatory was quiet now, except for the soft hum of the energy fields surrounding the orbital city. Kale floated beside Leora, feeling both exhilarated and nervous. Each step in this new environment was a test of skill, judgment, and creativity. But more than that, it was a test of trust. Trust in himself and in others. Leora turned to him, her eyes reflecting the distant stars. The next stage is not just about observation, she said. It is about partnership. You will not succeed alone. Collaboration is the key to mastering challenges in the galaxy. Okay. Kale frowned slightly. Collaboration? But humans often work alone. I've solved problems on my own for years. Leora smiled. Humans can work alone, yes, but no species can thrive entirely alone in the universe. You need allies, different minds, different perspectives. Tonight, you will learn how to combine your ingenuity with the strengths of others. She guided him to a new room, circular like the previous chambers, but larger and filled with multiple holographic consoles. Several alien figures floated among the displays, each representing a different species. Their forms were varied, some with translucent skin, some with multiple limbs, and some with shapes Kale could not immediately classify. They all looked up as he entered, eyes curious but cautious. These are your partners, Leora explained. You will work together to solve complex scenarios. The observer wants to see how humans interact with other species under pressure. Kyle took a deep breath. Interaction was something he had limited experience with, especially with aliens. But he reminded himself of what Leora had said. Humans had unique qualities, creativity, adaptability, and intuition. Perhaps those qualities could bridge gaps no technology could. The first scenario appeared on the holographic displays. A planet in a distant system was experiencing unstable energy fields. Its orbit was shifting, threatening neighboring planets. Kale scanned the data and realized the situation was more complicated than it seemed. Energy flows were erratic. The terrain was difficult to navigate, and multiple species' interests were at stake. Leora gestured to the alien participants. You have 1 hour to devise a solution. Communicate, collaborate, and adapt. Kale glanced at the aliens. One had 4 arms, each moving independently over controls. Another seemed to analyze everything through glowing eyes, calculating probabilities at incredible speed. Kale felt a flicker of intimidation but quickly reminded himself. Humans had a strength that algorithms could not replicate: creativity. Okay, he said aloud, taking the lead. We need to stabilize the planet's orbit first, but we also need to consider resources and life forms. Let's divide the tasks. I can handle the energy flow calculations and improvisation. If someone can monitor environmental impacts. An alien with translucent skin nodded, a gesture that seemed universal. Another pointed to a set of holographic grids, indicating willingness to assist. Slowly, a plan began to form. Kale suggested unconventional solutions, redirecting energy flows in patterns the aliens would not have considered. The alien team responded with efficiency, providing precise calculations and predictions. As they worked, Kale noticed something remarkable. His human intuition filled gaps in the data, noticing patterns and potential risks that were invisible to the others. The aliens, in turn, provided perspectives he had never imagined. Together, they became more than the sum of their parts. Leora observed quietly, offering guidance only when necessary. "Remember," she whispered, "humans shine brightest when they are unpredictable and resourceful. Trust your instincts, but also trust your team." The hour passed quickly. The planet stabilized, its orbit returned to balance, and the energy flows normalized. Kale felt a surge of pride, but also relief. Collaboration had worked. The observer, standing silently in the background, nodded once, acknowledging their success. "You see," Leora said, her eyes sparkling, "this is why humans are remarkable. You adapt, improvise, and lead in ways others cannot anticipate. But you also learn quickly to work with others." Kale smiled, feeling a new confidence. "I never thought I'd enjoy working with aliens," he admitted. "You enjoy because you succeed," Leora said simply. "And success is most meaningful when it is shared." The second scenario began immediately. This time, it involved a system of planets where communication networks were failing. Multiple species relied on these networks for coordination, trade, and daily life. Kale realized the problem required diplomacy, technical skill, and creative thinking. He floated to the center of the holographic display and addressed the group. "We need to think beyond the usual methods. Standard protocols won't work. We need a hybrid solution technology and human intuition combined." The aliens listened carefully, intrigued by his approach. Kale suggested rerouting energy fields to act as communication relays, paired with adaptive algorithms that could respond in real time. The solution required quick thinking and coordination, but slowly, step by step, the team implemented the plan. Kale noticed how naturally the team adapted to his ideas. His human perspective added flexibility to the alien precision. When unexpected problems arose, Kale improvised, using analogies and reasoning that were understandable across species. The aliens followed his lead, but also taught him new strategies for managing complexity. Hours passed, yet the team remained focused. Kale realized that humans had a gift in collaboration. They could combine intuition, creativity, and reasoning to solve problems in ways others could not. And when paired with complementary strengths from other species, the results were extraordinary. Finally, the communication networks stabilized. Signals flowed seamlessly across planets. Trade resumed, and life continued, without disruption. The observer stepped forward this time, his metallic armor reflecting the holographic lights. "You have exceeded expectations," he said. "Not only did you solve the technical problems, but you demonstrated leadership, adaptability, and collaboration. These traits are invaluable." Kale felt a wave of pride. He had never imagined that humans could be seen as so capable on a galactic scale. Yet here, in the observatory above Eloria, it was clear that his species had potential the universe had not yet recognized. Leora floated closer, her expression soft. "You see now," she said, "why I brought you here. You are not just a human engineer. You are a representative of what humanity can achieve when it embraces creativity and collaboration." Kale smiled, a mixture of humility and confidence in his heart. "It feels incredible," he admitted. "I never thought we could be taken seriously like this." "You will be. But remember, this is only the beginning. The galaxy is vast, and humans have much to offer. The observer is just the first to notice. There will be others, and your role will grow." Kale nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He was not just solving problems for himself, or even for the team he was representing humanity, and for the first time, he understood what it meant to rise to the challenge. The observatory grew quiet once again. Kale floated beside Leora, looking out at the stars. The alien team had departed, leaving him with a sense of accomplishment and anticipation. Next, Leora said softly, you will face situations that test not only your mind but your character. You will encounter dilemmas where there are no perfect solutions, where empathy and judgment are as important as logic. That is the true measure of a species. Kale exhaled deeply. I understand, and I'm ready to try. Leora smiled, her hand brushing against his. Good. Because humans are capable of greatness, Kale. They just need the opportunity to show it. And you are proving that tonight. Kale looked out at the galaxy, the endless stars, and the possibilities stretching before him. He felt a new sense of purpose. Humans were underestimated, yes, but they were clever, adaptable, and capable of remarkable achievements. And he had the chance to show the universe what his species could do. With Leora by his side, Kale felt prepared for the challenges ahead. Together, they would face problems, explore new worlds, and demonstrate the extraordinary potential of humanity. And as the observatory's lights shimmered against the vast darkness of space, Kale realized that this partnership between human ingenuity and alien experience could change everything. The universe was vast, full of challenges, and ready for discovery. And humans, with their creativity and heart, were ready to rise. The observatory glimmered against the vast darkness of space, a beacon of knowledge and possibility. Kale floated beside Leora, feeling a mixture of excitement and anticipation. Tonight would be the final stage of his journey, a test not just of skill, intuition, or creativity, but of judgment, collaboration, and heart. Leora turned to him, her eyes calm and confident. This is it, Kale. The observer will watch everything you do, but the decisions are yours. You will face dilemmas where there is no perfect solution. The key is to balance logic, intuition, and empathy. Remember everything you have learned. Kale nodded, his fingers brushing against the edge of the nearest holographic console. He felt a deep sense of responsibility. The challenges had grown increasingly complex, and this final stage would require every skill he possessed. But he also felt a quiet confidence. Humans were underestimated, yet he now knew they had remarkable strengths that could shape the galaxy. The holographic display shifted, revealing a vast, interlinked system of planets. Each planet presented a unique challenge: resource scarcity, unstable environments, and conflicting interests among different species. Kale realized immediately that a single solution would not suffice. He would need to prioritize, adapt, and trust both his instincts and his team. Leora gestured to the alien participants who had returned for this stage. They floated beside him, ready to collaborate. Their forms were diverse, one with 6 delicate arms, another with skin that shimmered like liquid silver, and another whose form seemed to change with the light. Kale felt a surge of determination. Together, they were a team, combining unique strengths in ways no individual could. Your first challenge, Leora explained, is the system of 3 planets. 2 of them are rich in energy but unstable. The third is stable but lacks sufficient resources. The species on these planets are in conflict. You must find a solution that maintains stability, ensures survival, and balances interests. You have 2 hours. Kale took a deep breath. He began analyzing the planets, noting patterns in energy flows, environmental conditions, and species interactions. He realized that a direct approach forcing stability through standard measures would fail. The energy-rich planets were volatile, and any sudden action could destabilize the entire system. We need a gradual approach, Kale said aloud, sharing his thoughts with the team. We stabilize the energy flows incrementally, monitor the species' interactions, and provide guidance to prevent conflict. The stable planet can act as a support hub for resources. The alien team nodded in agreement. Together, They began implementing Kale's strategy. He guided the energy adjustments, improvising when anomalies appeared. His human intuition allowed him to notice patterns the aliens could not predict, while the aliens' precision and calculation complemented his creativity. As the minutes passed, the planets responded positively. Energy flows began to stabilize, tensions among species decreased, and resources were efficiently distributed. Kale felt a thrill of accomplishment. But he also knew this was only the beginning. The observer's gaze remained on them, assessing every choice, every adaptation, every subtle judgment. The second challenge appeared immediately. A planet was experiencing environmental collapse due to unpredictable weather patterns. The inhabitants, a mixture of humans and aliens, were struggling to adapt. Kale quickly analyzed the data and proposed a solution. Create adaptive shelters that could adjust to changing conditions, paired with resource-sharing networks to ensure survival. The alien participants worked efficiently, but Kale introduced a human twist using unconventional patterns of energy redistribution that minimized waste and maximized efficiency. The solution worked, and the inhabitants were safe. Leora's eyes sparkled with pride. "You see?" she whispered. "Your unpredictability, your creativity, and your human perspective are exactly what this universe needs. No algorithm or alien protocol could have solved this as you did." Kale smiled, feeling a mixture of pride and humility. The observer finally moved closer, his metallic armor reflecting the holographic lights. "You have performed exceptionally," he said. "Not only have you solved technical and environmental challenges, but you have demonstrated leadership, adaptability, and compassion. Few humans, or any species, could manage this level of complexity with such insight." Kale felt a surge of pride. The journey from the dance in the zero-gravity gala to this moment had been incredible. He had started uncertain, unsure of his abilities, but now he understood the power of human ingenuity, adaptability, and collaboration. Leora floated closer, her voice soft. "And now, Kale, the final part. This challenge is not technical, it is personal. You will need to make a decision that affects lives, cultures, and even the perception of humans in the galaxy. The observer will watch closely, but the choice is yours." Kale's heart raced. He had prepared for simulations, technical problems, and collaboration. But this was different. This was judgment, understanding the impact of his choices beyond immediate outcomes. He studied the holographic display, where 3 planets were connected by fragile networks of diplomacy and trade. A decision here would ripple across systems, affecting millions of lives. I understand," Kale said, his voice steady despite the weight of responsibility. "I need to think carefully, consider the consequences, and act with both logic and empathy." "Exactly," Leora said. "Trust yourself. You have proven humans are capable of greatness, and now you will show it." Kale spent the next hour analyzing every detail. He consulted the alien team, seeking insights without surrendering his own judgment. He proposed solutions that balanced resource distribution, stabilized environments, and respected cultural differences. His human perspective allowed him to anticipate problems others would overlook, while the aliens' calculations ensured precision. Finally, Kale made his decision. He implemented a plan that ensured long-term stability, fairness, and collaboration among the planets. The holographic displays shimmered as the systems responded. Energy flows stabilized, habitats became sustainable, and trade networks flourished. The ripple effects were visible. Species previously in conflict now cooperated, sharing resources and knowledge. The observer approached, his eyes focused on Kale. "You have succeeded," he said, "not only in technical skill, but in judgment, empathy, and leadership. You have shown that humans can rise to challenges previously thought impossible." Your species has potential beyond what we imagined. Kale felt a deep sense of fulfillment. All the lessons, the challenges, the dances, and the simulations had led to this moment. He had proven that humans were not just adaptable, they were capable of creativity, collaboration, and leadership that could impact the galaxy. Leora smiled, her eyes reflecting pride and warmth. You have done more than I could have imagined, Kale. The observer sees now what I have always known. Humans are extraordinary. Kale exhaled, floating beside her, feeling a mix of relief and triumph. I can't believe it. From the dance to this, it's incredible. It is, Leora agreed. But remember, this is just the beginning. The galaxy is vast, and humans have only begun to realize their potential. You have shown what is possible. Others will follow, and humanity will have a place among the stars. Kale looked out at the galaxy, the endless expanse of stars stretching into infinity. He felt a profound sense of connection not just to Leora, not just to the observer, but to humanity itself. Humans had arrived in a universe that had underestimated them, and now they were being noticed for their ingenuity, creativity, and courage. You've proven something important, Leora said softly. That humans can shine, even in ways the galaxy never expected. And you, Kale, have led the way. Kale smiled, a mixture of humility and pride. We did it, he said. All of us humans and aliens together. That's the real triumph. Yes, Leora said. And now, you have earned what I promised. At the beginning. Kale blinked, surprised. What do you mean? She floated closer, a playful smile on her face. The kiss, she said. Kale laughed, a light, joyful sound that echoed in the observatory. He had faced the galaxy's challenges, proved humanity's worth. And now, there was a simple, human moment of connection, waiting for him. As they shared that quiet, celebratory moment, Kale felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges, mysteries, and possibilities. Humans had something unique to offer, and he had demonstrated it. And as the stars shimmered outside the glass walls of the observatory, Kale realized something profound. Humanity's greatest strength was not technology or power. It was creativity, intuition, and the courage to rise to any challenge. Leora smiled, brushing her hand lightly against his. The universe is watching, she said softly. And now it knows. Humans can shine. Kale nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility and the joy of achievement in equal measure. He had danced, he had faced challenges, he had collaborated across species, and he had made decisions that would echo across worlds. He had shown the galaxy what humans could do. And as he floated there, among the stars, Kale felt the certainty that this was only the beginning. Humanity had arrived. The universe was watching, and the future was theirs to shape.